What is going on, guys? It is Tom or Top 10 Wrestling, and welcome back to another TNA video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the time that TNA went to war with the WWE, where some ridiculous things happened. And no, this is not the Hogan era during the Monday Night War. This was during about 2006, quite early on in TNA's history. Some crazy things happened, such as COOKIEGATE. Some TNA wrestlers attended a WWE show, and all the wild shenanigans of the VOODOO KIN Mafia. Remember them? But before we get into it, I would like to thank my Patreon backers, all listed here. Be sure to check out my Patreon for more exclusive content, all that jazz. Check out my Movember, links down below. Like I said, big rewards if we hit the goal. And check out my second channel, and let's get into the video.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
First of all, let's talk about COOKIEGATE. A very odd name, I know, but there is meaning behind it. Let's explain what COOKIEGATE actually is and how it involves the WWE. So let's go to TNA Victory Road 2004, TNA's first ever 3-hour monthly pay-per-view, basically the first ever traditional pay-per-view after finally abandoning the weekly pay-per-view format. This can be considered the first ever TNA pay-per-view in a way. On the card, it was a very decent card. You had a 20-man X Division gauntlet match, an 8-man tag with Ron Killings, Eric Watts, The Naturals, etc. Mascarita Sagrada against Purita Morgan. I have no idea who that is. 3 Live Crew against Team Canada. Stephanie Trinity versus Jacqueline. Monty Brown versus Raven and Abyss in a Monsters Ball. Petey Williams versus AJ Styles, America's Most Wanted versus Triple X, and Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy. But we're not here to talk about the card or whatever. Maybe one day in the future I'll do a review of it. It seems like a fun little card. It's the first ever TNA pay-per-view. Maybe we'll review it for a video in the future. Anyway, I'm rambling. We're not here to talk about the wrestling that took place on the pay-per-view. We're here to talk about a very infamous segment that took place on this show. That, of course, being COOKIEGATE. Basically, TNA filmed a video where they had their wrestlers visit some WWE personnel who were filming a commercial at Universal Studios and decided to give them some cookies. You know what? My words don't do it justice. How about we just watch it? Hey guys, originally the video was going to have me reacting to COOKIEGATE, but I've tried to upload this video 5 times now and it keeps getting copyright claimed because I'm showing footage of it. So instead, let me just walk you through it with some images playing. I know it's peak, but I just can't get around copyright right now, so I'm really sorry. Basically, they cut backstage where Dusty Rhodes says, "Play COOKIEGATE." We then see one man, I think he's an interviewer, along with Tracy Brooks, who has cookies, and Abyss, who has balloons. And they say they're going to introduce WWE to a real wrestling company. We then see 3 Live Crew, aka Road Dogg and Ron the Truth Killings, or R-Truth, talking to some faces who are blurred out, probably for legal reasons. They couldn't show the faces. But Road Dogg is basically saying, "Hey, where's Vince? Where's Vince? He owes me money, yada yada yada." And it's really, really awkward. They offer them some cookies, they just mock WWE and kind of just say like, "Oh yeah, TNA superior, yeah. And it's really, really awkward. And that is pretty much what COOKIEGATE was. So that was interesting, and that was the first real time that WWE was mentioned and made the entire focus of a TNA segment. But boy oh boy, do we have more to come. Let's fast forward to 2006 and check in with the VOODOO KIN Mafia, formerly known as Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, aka the New Age Outlaws. They were now known as Kip James and BG James, now known as the VOODOO KIN Mafia. And if you don't get why they were called that, just read the initials of it. VKM, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, you got me? Whatever. But there was a segment where they actually took on the VKM name, and there is a whole reason why they were given the VKM name, as at first in TNA, they were called the James Gang. On the November 2nd episode of Impact in 2006, the James Gang cut a worked shoot promo announcing they were quitting TNA and claiming that TNA had mismanaged them, and during the segment TNA's cut off their mics and things like that to make it seem more real. We knew it wasn't. So the James Gang had quit TNA, oh boy. But then on November 11th, a WWE house show in Connecticut was cancelled. Nothing out of the ordinary, but that's when TNA swooped in and decided to film a vignette with the James Gang outside WWE HQ in Connecticut discussing the cancellation and posted it to their website. Now, I have tried to find this video, I even found the link to it and put it in the Wayback Machine, but I just can't find it. I wish I could show you it, but I can't. You just have to imagine it, but this would be the start of something. On the November 16th episode of Impact, the James Gang returned after quitting, announced they were back, they had signed new contracts with creative control on them, and named themselves the VOODOO KIN MAFIA, and they declared war on the WWE. Oh boy. The next few weeks would see more vignettes outside WWE headquarters, VKM calling out the recently revived DX and firing shots at them, and doing a whole angle where they were trying to get a cease and desist signed so that WWE could not use the DX name, even though they invented DX. The whole thing was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. The war, heavy quotation marks, would continue with TNA and the VOODOO KIN Mafia constantly mentioning and talking about the WWE, whether it be on TV or online. A big infamous moment with TNA mentioning WWE in this war was during the disastrous December to Dismember pay-per-view. The Hardy Boys made an open challenge to which TNA so quickly posted on their website saying VKM had accepted the challenge. But by the time they posted it, Eminem had already came out and accepted it live on the pay-per-view. TNA were literally watching their pay-per-views and then posting about them. Like, they were literally paying attention. They were looking for any opportunity to mention themselves and get themselves involved in this fake little war that was going on. I'm sorry, but it is just getting sad at this point. It's just getting really sad. It was also 2 days before this December Dismember pay-per-view that probably the maddest thing TNA did in regards to this war that they've done so far. They went to a WWE show, a house show to be exact. On December 1st, 2006, VKM, Vince Russo, Jeremy Borash, and a TNA camera crew all turned up at a house show in Knoxville. They filmed themselves interviewing the fans, buying the tickets, entering the arena, and watching the main event, which ironically enough featured DX. And even more ironically enough, they were in what looks like the cheapest seats possible. I have no idea why, but it just doesn't surprise me that TNA couldn't even get like front row or whatever. They had to sit at the very back. It doesn't surprise me. At Turning Point 2006, VKM came out parodying DX and then sent out a $1 million open challenge to Vince McMahon and DX. And yo, they're getting desperate at this point. They're getting desperate for any response from WWE at this point, who still weren't giving them one. Finally, the war would end. At Final Resolution in January 2007, VKM declared that they had won the war. They laid down the battle stations and declared victory over WWE's dead body. Wow. What a war. You guys sure owned them. You guys destroyed them. Wow. They cited WWE's refusal to acknowledge them and the fact that on a recent Raw episode, the fans chanted TNA and VKM. They decided that that was enough reason for them to declare victory. Wow, TNA, you sure showed WWE. And that's pretty much it for the fake war that TNA had with WWE. Ironically, only the first time they tried to go to war with them. Obviously, in 2010, they had their failed Monday Night War, which went horribly wrong. It wouldn't be until 2018 when WWE would finally actually acknowledge TNA, when Kurt Angle told Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn that TNA is hiring. And by that point, TNA was pretty much dead and no longer a rival to them. So a bit of a power play from the WWE, I can't lie. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, then be sure to smack that like button. I didn't realize there was so much that went into this. I always just thought they attended a house show and that was it. But boy, they did a lot. Like, the VKM were absolutely awful. I hated them. But yeah, I'm rambling. Like the video, subscribe. Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, podcast, all links down below. Movember link down below. Second channel, links down below. I need to upload more to that. I will soon, I promise you. I'll see you all soon though. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.